Hello, 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 hello. Greetings, everybody. Greetings, everybody. As we start to get this program started, can you all grab a seat? Thank you guys all for being here. The people that are joining us virtually, thank you guys for joining us virtually. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. First and foremost, as we get this thing started off, I just want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to some of our sponsors. First and foremost, to WellSpan Health. Thank you guys for always believing in us and sponsoring us. Hollywood Casino, BML Construction, Barley Snyder, Corey Leslie, attorney at law, the NAACP, AA&K Construction, Farrell Law Firm, Hood, HOOD, and Brighter Horizon Homes. Thank you guys. Can we all give a round of applause for all of our sponsors? I'd now like to turn the attention to the wonderful panel that I was able to assemble. I thank them all for the vulnerability with sharing their stories, sharing their experience, and sharing their perspective. If you guys could do me a favor and hold your applause to the end so I can get them all out here, I'd greatly appreciate it. First and foremost, I want to introduce Tiff Lowe. Tiff Lowe. Next up, we have Alexander Campbell. Jamil Alexander, John Ayers, Sulaim Hassan, Casper Hill, Javon DeShields, Mel Wells, and the Reverend Jonathan Queen. Could you guys join me in giving a round of applause for all of our panel speakers? And next we have members of the justice and judicial system. Can you guys do me the honor of, again, holding your applause to the end? First and foremost, we have my friend Judge Amber Kraft, Judge Michael Flannelly, Assistant District Attorney Stephanie Lombardo, Judge James Morgan, and Commissioner Michael Muldrow. This is your 2023 Reformed Felons Panel. Could we all give them a round of applause, please? With WellSpan being our resident host, I have a quick message just to read about their START program, Specialized Treatment and Recovery Team. One thing I'm proud that the Advantage program has partnered with WellSpan because they provide mental health to kids ages 14 to 24. Some of the services they offer are mental health and substance use disorder, medication assistance treatment, crisis mental health services, primary care screening and monitoring of key health indicators and risks, recovery and peer support services, and care coordination and social services. So WellSpan START program, again, ranges from ages 14 to 24. However, they do a lot in the community and they do a lot for the Advantage program. So thank you to WellSpan. How we're going to start this thing off, I figured instead of me boring you guys by reading off a piece of paper each individual panel member's bio, I'll allow them to introduce themselves. So what we'll do is we'll start with Casper Hill. We'll go around to the right. Each person gets two minutes. But feel free to introduce yourself to the audience, to the crowd, and share with whatever you'd like to share. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Did y'all hear me?
Yes.
Let's use up most of my time getting the mic free. But how's everyone doing? My name is Jamel Casper Hill, AKA Mr. Hope for the Hustlers. Please know that I say that in a humble way, not in a cocky or arrogant way. My company is Team Success Publications, and my newest venture is X-Cons to Extraordinary Gentlemen, the magazine. And I have a few other ventures that I'm grateful for because I work hard and establish these businesses legitimately. I was a drug dealer entrepreneur for 25 years in 9 different states, and I did a total of 10 years in prison. During my last stint in prison, I made the decision that enough was enough. I said, let me go home and give myself a chance before I end up dying inside one of these jail cells. So I walked out of state prison with a plan and a prayer, and by the grace of God, things worked out for me. And I was able to start 2 businesses off a $10 an hour job. So I have a no excuse policy for drug dealers and criminals, because if I could change that deep-rooted thinking, criminal thinking that I had, and reestablish myself legitimately and win righteously, then anyone can change and win righteously. So some call me the inmate that won. Some call me Mr. Hope for the Hustlers. I go by Jamel Casper Hill. Thank you, guys.
Peace, family. I just want to say to my brother, Mr. Parker, thank you for establishing this incredible panel of individuals. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jonathan Ayers, socially known as the Phoenix. Warrior mode, brother. Warrior mode. The hardest battle you ever fight is the battle against yourself. And with that getting said, as far back as I can remember, since 11/11/1980, I've been in a constant battle with myself. I'm a husband, blessed to be married to my incredible best friend of 23 years. I'm a father of 2, grandfather, part of me a father of 3, grandfather of 2, incredible children that I'm able to pour into and still be the person that I didn't have growing up. To my community and beyond, I'm a leader. I'm a coach. I'm a student. I'm a teacher. I'm a narrative changer. Most importantly, I'm a warrior in mode. What do? I'm a retired Pennsylvania educated kid, blessed, truly blessed to impart knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and individuals not too long ago. Part of it. Not too long ago was myself. As far as my career, I'm the co-owner of Couture Health and Wellness, which is a women's online e-commerce. I challenge all you incredible ladies to check it out. And my day job, my baby, Warrior Mode Logistics, where we specialize in the freight and shipment of vehicles in general. We specialize in the shipment of vehicles and general freight, as well as every day I wake up to impart a piece of me and someone else, a seed of growth, empowerment, and wisdom. A life coach, to say the least. That's my story, ladies and gentlemen. But what really brought us here today, what brought me here today, is that I'm a proud graduate of honors from the Pennsylvania prison system. From the age of 17, Vision Quest Boot Camp, to 27, Hugh State Boot Camp. Those lessons are the very foundation I stand on today. They outweigh any degree, any certification I've ever earned. But that's just my story. I took responsibility for all of me, and I challenge you all to take responsibility for all of you. I am the Phoenix, the rebirth. Peace and blessings.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Suleiman Hassan. I really don't talk with microphones, but Tavon Parker, I want to first thank you and your family and everyone who's involved with putting this masterpiece panel and bringing all these beautiful people, beautiful souls here today. I am grateful and appreciate you guys having me here, and you guys showing up, because without you guys coming here, none of this would be even possible. So just to give you a little background on myself, I grew up in Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, all my life. My father, heroin addict, alcoholic. My mother, alcoholic, crack addict, era. Growing up as a young man in Philadelphia, I started running the streets at the age of 7. There was no rules. There was no, you're going to get a whooping. There was no structure due to my parents being addicted to drugs and alcohol. So for me, I ran the streets and I looked up to individuals who sold drugs, or maybe, they had a mom and a dad, and I would go over their house just to feel love. Due to me not having that love led me to be, at the age of 13, being arrested for 3.5 years. I did 3.5 years within the juvenile justice system because I wound up getting addicted to marijuana and alcohol at a very young age. So by the time I was 18, I came home and I hit the ground running once again, drinking. I drunk through all my 20s, which eventually led me into my 30s. But I'm not gonna give everything though. But I'm gonna just share this right here. Eventually I had turned my life around. By the age of 33, I wound up going into rehab, and now I sit here with 8.5 years clean. My pain and my experiences through trauma, childhood trauma, adulthood trauma, and trauma that I caused myself and my family, because I was married as well, and my wife for 23 years. She's still with me, thank God. Led me to start a nonprofit organization called Soldiers for Recovery. Now, Soldiers for Recovery, I never used the nonprofit part of it because honestly, I don't know how. So I took it upon myself to go on Instagram because I noticed there was a lack of information. It was a lack of education about drugs and substance abuse and mental health. So I started the page of Soldiers for Recovery about 5 years ago, which led me speaking in schools, speaking in community centers, speaking in rehabs, to even speaking here today. So today I share my voice, I share my story, I share my pain to help the youth and educate the youth as well as adults about the disease of addiction. And not only do I do that, I am on the ground. And if anybody knows anything about Kensington, Philadelphia, Needle Park, look it up. Look it up, because that's where I used to live, and that's where I used to get high when I was homeless 3 times in my life. So now today I go down there personally and pull people from the streets, and I send them personally to rehab and go get the help that they need. So I just want to thank everyone for your time and coming out today. And also, I'm working on a podcast. I'm going to need you guys to tune in. It's called The Bad, the Ugly, and the Blessing. It's going to be rolling out real soon, but you can find episodes on the Soldiers for Recovery page as well as the One Day at a Time page as well. It'll be right there. Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon, family. Y'all did good. I'm trying to get them to get engaged. Good afternoon, family. Good afternoon. Here we go. Thank y'all. Before I introduce myself, I just want to really give a huge shout out to Tavon Parker and the entire Advantage program family. Excellent. God is smiling, for real. Excellent. Can y'all show them some love, please? My name is Reverend Jonathan Queen. If we were reading a technical bio, it would say that I am an associate pastor. I bring greetings from the First Baptist Church of Glenard in Maryland. I am a husband of 1 wife, father of 6, grandfather of 8. I don't like using the word grandfather. I'm a pop of 8, too young to be the grandfather. Amen. I am the author of 6 books. I am a professional expert in all things reentry. I am a motivational speaker, a counselor. I am an advocate for those who don't have a voice. And I'm saying this in the most humblest way I can because I'm also the former 09138067, the former CN 1501. I gave 10.5 years of my life to the system. And I've been in all 3 areas, the county, whether it was Lackawanna or Dauphin. I've been in 3 state prisons, Camp Hill, Monohoy, Graterford. I've been in 5 federal prisons. I need y'all to understand that you're looking at one of God's miracles. So when I say that the introduction and the bio could have a technical side, I would much rather give you the God side of it. I'm one of those people that you can look at, and if you've ever had someone you've been praying for in prison, trying to get in prison, doing everything they possibly can to be a part of the system, there is hope, because that was me. I'm the oldest of 6 children, raised by a single mother, drug addicted. My father was drug addicted, tiptoeing in and out of my life. Prison, both of them have passed, rest their souls. But we were able to reconcile and bring restoration before they died. I stand as an example of what it looks like when you decide that you're not going to go back. Not just go back to prison, but go back to that mentality. I am the co-founder of a nonprofit called New Minds Ministries. The other co-founder, who's really my boss, that's my wife, the beautiful Lena Queen, formerly Smallwood, here of York, Pennsylvania. I lived here for 5 years and was able to do some good work. So this feels like a homecoming. I worked for ARC, Alternative Rehabilitation Communities. I was an aftercare specialist. I've brought young people into courtrooms as well as into schools to get them back into society. I worked for Family Child Resources. They had me going into York County Prison. I'm home. I don't want to go back to the prison. No, I loved it. I love being able to go back into the prisons, teach parenting classes. I'm one of the few, former Secretary Wetzel gave permission to go into every prison in the state of Pennsylvania. You know, that's unheard of when you have felonies. I was labeled a career criminal, when they gave me my 10-year sentence. I took a drug and alcohol program in the feds, and it changed my life almost as much as what God did, but it helped me break a lot of my criminal thinking errors. So I wrote a book about it. I took everything that they said was in that $250,000 program. That's how much they paid for every one person to be in it. $250,000. They stopped the free school lunches. You remember? Okay, I ain't gonna get in that. But I'm just saying, I took everything that they gave me in that program and I put it into a book in layman's terms. I actually have some out in the hallway. I sell it for $200,000, just a little bit less. I'm just like, get it for $10 if you're just coming home. But I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be amongst some giants that are dead set on showing people what true transformation after incarceration looks like. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. My timer is 1:30 because he gave us 10 minutes. So if y'all heard the alarm go off, I'm gonna wrap up. TP, you already know I love you. You, your queen, the family, the Vantage program. Jamil Alexander, aka Bro, JLA, aka Mills, depending on when you know me and how you met me. I am all of the above. I am a husband and a father first. I acknowledge my queen because she would have been here. But she runs a fan biz with Liz. And I literally appreciate her and my daughter coming in town to work as she's in college, Morgan State, and even my son being with me today, right now. So I'm always a husband and a father first. Y'all don't know me, get to know me, JamilAlexander.com. Like, I'll leave it like that. But then on the flip side, there's levels of, with the grace of God, me coming here to York from PHILLY, Knucklehead, Juvie Time, faith-based, Maranatha, and even Christmas Addicts. It was a dual role that poured into me. And as I began to understand who I was blessed with my queen in 2004, and we've been rocking out ever since. And my children, they not only healed me, but they continue to heal and uplift this community as well. So the fact that, I did a little juvie time, and as much as I was trying to take care of who I was and growing and learning and healing through the generational trauma, my grandmother being Muskogee Creek, the Tulsa Massacre, literally housing people as they was misplaced. My dad from Philadelphia, 30 seconds, I gotta wrap it up. My dad from Philly, being my mom in Oklahoma, moving to Philadelphia, and then I witnessed the bomb. Talk about that trauma, and then even going into the system myself. Thank God we're here.
Hello, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. All right. Thank you, bro, for having me. I gotta introduce myself after all of y'all. That's man. Oh man. I'm Tiflo. Um, I'm very humble. So I'm cool with just taking this mic, saying hi, how y'all doing? I'm Tiflo, Coach Tiff, Miss Tiff, and then passing the mic. But I know I shouldn't do that because I got some little faces. So I will be honest with you, bro. I was a little hesitant about coming today because anytime that I put a mic in my hand or I'm speaking, I don't do presentations. I have conversations with people, and it's like these lights and stuff is in my face. I can't see the crowd. I can't get a feel. When I came, I'm like, like I'm thinking like, what's my purpose? And I fought with it. But I believe in divine intervention. So the day that I walked out of York County Prison in August of 2009, I never went back. When I left my mom in there, and then my mom died September 23rd, 2009. So, my story is crazy. So I fought with a lot of things today because not only, did I think about that, I thought about, well, today's April 8th and it's my mom's birthday. Then I thought about this ring that I got on my finger that I couldn't find for over a year, and I found it last night and it says my mom's name on it. So you know what? I was like, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna show off. So let me reintroduce myself. I'm Tiff Lowe. I'm Coach Tiff. You understand? I'm the GBI. Thank you guys. I'm the GBI project manager here in York. A job again when I walked out of that jail in 2009. I wasn't supposed to have, but I have it. So what I do is I oversee group violence intervention, where we come up with strategies and plans of trying to save these young boys and young ladies' lives. I've been screaming, and I didn't even know. I call myself a naive genius. I've been screaming more graduations, less funerals since like 2011. Why I was still selling drugs and things like that. But now today I trademarked this. So more graduations, less funerals. I live by this. I don't just say it, So today I, sell shirts. I give out merch. But not only that, I live by this. My goal today is to make sure that none of these young kids have to experience what I experienced. I want to make sure that I am showing up to more graduations and less funerals. Working at York City School District for almost 8 years, I went to many funerals, but I also went to more graduations. So when you guys hear that or you guys see that, please understand that I'm not just saying it, I'm living it. You understand? So I want to say to you now, TP, I do understand why I'm here. And again, I'm going to show up, so let's get it.
Hello, everyone. My name, first off, I want to say thank you to Tavon Parker for giving me the opportunity as far as on the panel, as far as coming to his kids' programs every weekend, just giving me the opportunity. My name is Jovan DeShields. I just currently been released from prison after doing 12 years in jail. Now, as far as with my life, I'm just trying to, each and every day is a learning opportunity. I struggle each and every day, just trying to learn new things. So basically, when I got out of jail in September, I got out October 4th, 2023. And I just told myself, basically, I'm never going back. And that's when I came out with my own brand called Never Going Back. Because basically, I never want to go back to prison. I never want to go back to bad relationships. And there's just many different things I just never want to go back to. So now I'm just focused on getting myself together. I got a job, I got my license. All the things that I was doing wrong back then, I'm just getting them together each and every day. I had trouble with driving, now I got my license. I had trouble selling drugs, now I'm working at Harley Davidson, making $26 an hour. I got my bank account, so everything's just coming together each and every day, and I'm just thankful for this opportunity to be able to make my mom smile, because I always make my mom cry. Now it's time to make her smile. All right. And I just thank Tavon Parker for just giving me the opportunity, giving me the game. I went to school with him as a young child, and now he had hit me up, like basically I want to give you all the game I can. So I'm always open for resources, networks, I'm always taking it. And I'm just here to show I'm just trying to get my life together. I just want the opportunity from community, everybody.
Can you hear me? Wanted to tell everybody, welcome. Thank you, brother, for inviting me. I truly appreciate this. Before I say my name, I will say 21-22-20/1076-036. I was incarcerated in Virginia, given a life sentence, served 26 years on it, still on parole. My parole date does not end until 25/92. So what I share is, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I understood as a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man, my name is Alexander Campbell. I'm a facilitator of Redeem and Restore under Pastor Queen. Awesome program. I'm also a peer recovery support specialist as well as reentry. I graduated from Georgetown University with a certificate in business and entrepreneurship. I work with in PG in the DMV area with a program we call Beyond the Walls, and around June 1st, I'll be opening up one day in a wake up. My goal is, because I love the darkness, I will find you in the darkness and bring you back if you're willing to fight. I'm not as afraid of anybody's demons. I rumbled with my own. Not afraid of anybody's demons. I done been there. I done done that. Our goal is to bring them brothers and sisters back for them. You know, we want you to come back home. And we want you to be something special when you come back home. And that's why I introduced you, myself to you in the way that I did. Because I remember when I was a child to where I am now as a man.
I don't know what to say after that right there. Tavon, thank you, my brother, for having me today. I introduced my title a little later on, but I'm nothing but a person that God chose to pick out of the darkness. Been incarcerated 6 times. My father was on death row. Got off of death row, got exonerated from death row. Myself, we're getting incarcerated over 6 times, fighting police officers, even shooting my own brother. Won't get into all the rest that I had, but I stand here today with no record. Did all different types of drugs on the streets, sold drugs, dope, heroin, whatever it was, weed, wet coke, powder, whatever it was. Snorted cocaine myself. But I stand here today as the president and CEO of a worldwide company called One Day at a Time, but that is only because of the grace of God. I no longer have my mom and father with me, so you never really hear me say president and CEO because they're still my bosses up in heaven watching down on me. Shout out to my mom who passed away from COVID. Shout out to my boss lady who was in the crowd, my boss, Tasha Wells. I'm nothing without my queen next to me. One Day at a Time is a worldwide drug and alcohol recovery organization, not just talking about drugs and alcohol, but recovering from ex-offenders, recovering from the streets. We're located again in London, India, Cambodia. We service over 57,000 individuals along with Salim up here in the city of Philadelphia. Today I have about 260 people sleeping in beds from the area of Kensington. And I'm just here to let you know that there's no excuses and anybody can do it. You just got to believe in yourself. Since then, I've taken over One Day at a Time for like the last 20 years. I myself have started something called Through the Grace of God, Same Day Pay. I'm the founder of Same Day Pay in the city of Philadelphia. 90% of my staff members are all ex-offenders coming off the streets. I started a street team with nothing but ex-offenders on my street team. It's about 30 of them, maybe 130 something people on staff. We run landscaping services, shelter services, services for ladies that need a place to stay at night, outreach services, even the metro lines you see up in Philadelphia. We're the guys that do the overdose reversals, and I'm just here to be used and to serve Tavon and see who else, like my brother right next to me, who else can we grab out of the darkness, because some reason God chose us to do some of the dirty work, but the dirty work is the best work. Thank you.
So if you can't tell by now why I selected each one of these panel members, I'm hoping that now you get a small inkling into the powerful people that I'm blessed to be connected to. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys again. With that said, I'll stick to my 2 minutes because we're a little ahead of time, but I didn't want to set a timer while you guys were introducing yourself because I felt it was necessary for us to be able to paint this picture effectively, for us to lay the groundwork with the frame. And you guys introducing yourself was the frame, and over the next few minutes, we'll start to paint the picture for everybody here in the audience. So thank you guys again. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for everybody that is live streaming this. If you guys didn't know, on my YouTube channel, I am Tavon Parker. You can share it. I know some people weren't able to make it, so you can share that with them as well. We are live streaming this. A lot of people ask why have a Reformed Felons Panel? Is it glorifying the street life, the criminal mindset? And in my humble opinion, I feel like it's necessary to educate, and who better to educate than people who graduated from the streets. So I chose these panel members as well as the members from the judicial system because I thought this would be a great opportunity to educate not only people that are on the way to jail, and I say that because obviously if you're committing a crime, it's just a matter of time before you find yourself incarcerated, but also the people that have re-entered society and are struggling and need different assistance, need different services, and as well as the people who are in the judicial system. So I felt it was very necessary to have this because when you look at the statistics, and I'm not a big numbers guy, my wife's my accountant, but when you look at the statistics, the numbers show that the US leads the world in incarceration. And we're supposed to be one of the most advanced societies. So there's some disconnect there. And then when you look at Pennsylvania specifically, people that go to jail come home and recidivate at a 67% rate, which is basically if you were sitting in a row of 10 people, only 3 of you guys would successfully re-enter society. Out of that 67%, 75% of those people recidivate in the first 18 months. So if we can lower that number, especially here in York County, I feel like we can be the leaders for the whole state of Pennsylvania. And I say that humbly because obviously I brought 2 people from Philadelphia, 2 people from the DMV area, as well as New York and Florida as well, because again, this is an important conversation. So before we jump in and start painting this picture, I want to give ADA Steph Lombardo a chance to come and share some of the things that the DA's office is doing, some of the things that the DA's office is representing, and exactly what they do and do not stand for. Because I, for one, knew that when I was committing crimes, I didn't fully understand the ramifications. And when I got in front of a judge, and when I got in front of the DA, and all the things that were going on, there's a reason I hired a lawyer, because I didn't know. When you don't know what you don't know. So in order to educate us, I think this is an important step. So can you guys join me in welcoming Steph Lombardo, ADA Steph Lombardo, to the stage.
Thank you, Tavon, and thank you everyone for being present today. I know I speak for everyone at the DA's office that we are so happy that a forum like this exists, where all of us can come together and talk about real issues that affect us in the community and the steps that we're taking to make York City and York County better, safer places for everyone. In the York County DA's office, I work as our chief deputy prosecutor who oversees diversion efforts. And when I say I oversee diversion, I mean from pre-charge diversion efforts to keep people out of the juvenile and criminal justice system, to our ARD program to give low-risk, low-level offenders an opportunity to have a clean record, to our wellness courts, where we take our high-risk, high-needs population and give them that intensive supervision and treatment to keep them within the community. The York County District Attorney's Office takes its role as administrators of justice incredibly seriously. We know that justice looks different in every case, and our ultimate goal is to make sure that our community is safe. And when I say that justice looks different in every case, sometimes the just result is a long prison sentence. Sometimes the just result is intervention, treatment, rehabilitation, and all that leads to low recidivism rates, accountability, and public safety. What is public safety? At its core, it's about stability. It's knowing that there are options for you out there. be it economic options in terms of job growth and stable income, but it's also knowing that there are resources for you, that there's drug and alcohol counseling if you need it, or if you need help reaching out for Medicaid or other assistance programs. We know that the overwhelming majority of folks that are incarcerated will come back to their communities. So it doesn't make sense from a community safety standpoint to work with those reentrants and help them become stable, to help them find what they need, be it access to job opportunities or recovery opportunities. Doesn't it make more sense to help someone get their social security card or help them find that interview outfit so they can become stable? This distinguished panel, these graduates from the School of Hard Knocks, have said better than I could ever say about the importance of community and coming back to a community that sees you as a person, that sees you as having worth and value, and having those options and resources available. We know that diversion and reentry work. We know they make communities safer. And I will tell you right now, I am an audio-visual person.
It's up front.
I know you can all hear me. Lawyers are not quiet. But I have my chart down here. And what my chart shows, I didn't follow, is just the efforts that York County has made in making communities safer, in promoting justice, and in promoting public safety. Since the late 90s, York County has made significant investments in diversion and prevention. These efforts include the creation and growth of the wellness courts, the expansion of pretrial diversion, the implementation of initiatives such as the Group Violence Intervention Initiative, the formation of partnerships such as the York Opioid Collaborative and the York County Reentry Coalition, and the development of community resources such as CARD, Community Action for Recovery and Diversion, and START, Specialized Treatment and Recovery Teams. These programs and others like them are spokes on the same wheel. They further the goals of public safety by addressing the factors that contribute to crime and offering the necessary supports and resources for folks in need. And the results are pretty clear that these investments work. All right, my chart shows various factors that were monitored over a period of time. We see that probation caseloads are down 25% since 2009. New criminal cases are down 30% since 2009. Admissions into York County Prison are down 45% since 2010. And the York County Prison average daily population is down by 38% since 2009. Tavon spoke about the national averages for recidivism rates, and they're startling, aren't they? That over 2/3 of folks are going to recidivate and come back into the system. But what I know is that in York County, our recidivism rates are low, lower compared to the national average, and lower compared to some by neighboring counties. We're doing something right by investing in people and in opportunities and in public safety. I know I said in the beginning that sometimes the just result can be a long imprisonment sentence. I can tell you from personal experience, it is far more satisfying to see someone walk across the stage for a wellness court graduation than to send somebody upstate for 20 to 40 years. Unfortunately, in my role as a district attorney, sometimes that is what I must do. That the nature of the offense or that someone has squandered other past opportunities require that long sentence. But the York County District Attorney's Office is committed to diversion, to reentry, and keeping communities safe by uplifting everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you again, ADA Steph Lombardo. So what we're going to do now, you got the tickets? Does everybody have a red ticket? All right, let me know when you got it. Yeah, I don't want to want you guys just to sit here the whole time. I do want to get you guys. We got some prizes and some goodies to give away. So I want to. Yeah. So I want to get that ready. As we do that, I do want to jump into this panel discussion. That's the reason we're all here. So the way this will work, I'll set my timer. We have about 20 minutes for each question. Well, should I say each section? So there's like 4 or 5 different sections for us. So what I'll do is I'll set my timer for 4 minutes. So when it goes, obviously anybody can jump in, chime in with whatever they think. After the 4 minutes, we'll move on to the next question. So in that with that said, I guess I need to set my timer. So that said, the first question that I have, and obviously this is very versed, and everybody has a different opinion which they're entitled to. But in you guys' opinion, why do people go to jail? Why do people find themselves committing crimes and doing things that lead them to jail?
Can I go?
Yep, absolutely.
I'm glad that was the first question because I was sitting here thinking about that. Sometimes that's like you said, that's a very broad question. So growing up in my house, and I thought about that driving here, that's crazy. No one in my house had a job. Nobody. From may she rest in peace, my great grandmother, my uncles, everyone sold drugs, everyone, hid guns. They raided my house all the time. So growing up, that's all I knew. When I walked outside of my door, like I literally lived across the street from the Crispus Addicts, but that village just wasn't big enough or wasn't open long enough because I could go there from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, but I was at 551 Mackenzie Street most of my time, watching and learning how to bag up crack, sell crack, heroin, learning how to dismantle guns and that's all I was doing. So at a young age, I remember thinking that I wanted to be a queen pin. Like that was my goal in life, to become a queen pin. So it was the seeing is believing thing for me. It was like I was just doing what I seen. And then once you get caught up into that lifestyle, now it's like, this is my family. I felt protected. All the trauma that was going on in my home, the streets became my family. So I would have to say, and I look at, working with kids today and I go inside their homes, some of these kids, their homes look just like mine. Their parents aren't working. Everybody's selling weed, so at the end of the day, we have to be that face for these children. But again, they may only see us, like these kids right now, they only gonna see us till 3 o'clock. We don't know what they going back home to. You understand? So I think for me, that has a lot to do with why. And then the other piece with that is, I remember as a kid that when someone came home, it was a celebration, the welcome home party. So I wanted one of those, you putting clothes on their back, giving them money. So I'm like, oh, so you just go to jail. Again, this is a 9-year-old thinking these things. So now I'm trying to get to jail so I can come home and get showered with all that stuff, but that was the mindset. So that's my answer.
Feel free to jump in whenever you got.
Hello? If outside of my own testimony, because I know I started selling drugs because my mother was on drugs. I was 12 years old. She used to leave me and my brother in the house for days at a time with no food. And my dad was in jail for a homicide. But some of the things that I see today is the cool factor. You know what I'm saying? You got kids getting into the street life for cool points. Ignorance has become the new cool in the streets. An ignorant person went around and started a rumor years ago saying the working man is a sucker. And which is not true. And I work hard today to teach people otherwise. And like Tiff said, also, I tell people I did 10 years in jail, and some kids be like, oh, that's what's up. And I'm like, no, that's not what's up. Because I was hurting in jail. My family was hurting. That's not what's up. So just helping change that mindset, because people think it's cool selling drugs and shooting guns and all of that nonsense. Like, we tell ourselves in the inner city some of the wrong stuff, and we have to change that mindset, change that narrative.
For me, when I was young, when I went to jail, they used to have home passes. So, you know, and I was a good kid, but while I was in jail, they had like a system, you know, you be good, you get to come home all the time. For me, I kept staying in jail. I didn't want to come home. And even on home pass weekend, I wouldn't come home because I didn't have nothing there. I didn't have food there. You know, it was a lot of, you know, just drug selling and shooting. You know, my house was like the trap house. All the drug dealers in the neighborhood hung there, you know, sold drugs there. And like all the moms and dads, you know, that were getting high, they all hung at my house. So for me, you know, I never came home on a home pass. Most of my home passes I turned down because when I was in the juvenile system, I was working, you know, I had a job at Burger King, which, you know, and I just felt safer there, you know. So when I came back home, I didn't mind going back to jail because that's where I felt safe at. And it's sad because a lot of the youth today, I'm quite sure some of them feel the same way as I did because there's no structure at home, or they don't want to get killed or get involved into gang activity. Most of them don't. It's just that they have nothing to come home to sometimes. The environment is more dangerous at home than it is in jail for them, for a juvenile, you know. So I believe if it was more resources for the kids and you know, people like us to keep showing up, man, it'll be less of that right there. So I'm just speaking from my experience. That's it.
Everybody, I think everything we just touched on is all about poverty mindset, poverty, where we came from. And I think that don't want to miss the point that sometimes we don't choose prison, prison can choose us. And with saying that, a lot of people say, well, you had the choices and all that. A lot of people out here don't have the choices. We have to look at that. When you're groomed from being a child at 5 and 6 and 7 years old, of seeing the things that you see in your home when it's not really your home. Rather, you're talking about some nightmares that people don't talk about on CNN and the news. You have people and kids at home that see their mom in prostitution. They see their father, you know, dealing with hustling drugs and so forth like that. Their hearts become hard over time. And they don't have a lot of choices that a lot of other people have. Yeah, you can have a lot of resources, but you also got to have a family, meaning sometimes that's not your blood, but a family that show you how to use the resources. Because sometimes it's more easier to find a gun than it is to find an education. So we got to look at those things as well.
So with that said, and I totally agree, obviously everybody goes to jail for different reasons, but it starts with the mindset. And mindset is everything, perspective is everything. So my next question for you guys is, how has your mindset changed pre and post incarceration? And what do you credit that mindset change to?
I want to jump into that question, TP, but just to piggyback on your last question, I know we talked about all of the things that are in the right now, but for me, the mindset change is based on the re-education, learning something. The reason why my nonprofit is called New Minds is because that's exactly what had to happen. I had to get a new mind. But at the same time, and I want to shout out the representatives from the courts and the criminal justice system for being here today, for being a part of this, because that's an anomaly still. Even though there has been change, it's still an anomaly that you would want to be proactive enough to be on this side of intervention versus the other side. But the answer is that people go to jail and need a new mindset because there's a systemic system that was put in place all the way back to our slavery days. You know, I'm just being honest, like, let's be real, that there you can track from slavery through Reconstruction, through the abandonment of the free blacks who weren't really free, to the Jim Crow laws, to the segregation, all the way to the war on drugs. Most of us fall into the category of being raised during the time when the crack epidemic, the war on drugs, the outrageous laws that were put in place, enacted, by partially by our current president. But I don't want to say victim, because I didn't just get arrested, I got rescued. But the fact remains that I was sentenced under that crack disparity cocaine law. I was sentenced and given enhancements that were eventually removed when they started changing laws. And I need y'all to understand that when we talk about having a changed mindset, it can't just be on one side. And the reason why we do this work is so that lawmakers and those who are responsible for upholding public safety can also no longer just see statistics and numbers, they see people. So I pray that the next time you see a 8 or 9-year-old who is struggling, who looks like he's going to go to jail, when you start analyzing the 3rd grade reading level to see how many more prisons we should build, how many more beds should be filled, you start remembering that you met some individuals who went through that hell and changed their lives and have a new mindset, so that you will treat them a little bit differently instead of just saying, yeah, lock them up for a while.
I think the mindset changes when you feel like, I don't want to be in prison no more. Like, I don't want to have to listen to somebody each and every day tell me when I can eat, tell me when I can go outside, tell me when I can call. So far as what my mindset changed, basically, like, just on the mental state of the mind, because if your mind ain't right, nothing else ain't gonna be right. So as like just walking through prison each and every day, I always just notice, like, I'm just like inundated. Like, I don't want to go through this anymore. Like, I got to do something different. Like, this can't be life. And as far as my mindset now, what it is, basically, like, I would do anything, basically, not to just go back there. Because it's so easy. The door is always open. There's a bed open for all of us right now. I still have flashbacks. I still fight demons each and every day, basically off that mindset. Because it's not that easy just to go away. So basically, I just tell myself each and every day is just take one day at a time. That's all I can do, is just take one day and learn, and keep in back in my mind, I'm never going back. So whatever I got to do, I'm going to stay out here, because there's no love in there. I hurted people more than I made people happy by me being in jail. But I learned things while I was there. I got certificates. I got certain degrees. I made the best out of it. There's like a saying, it could be a fool's playground, or wise man's college. Well, I made it wise for me, and I made the best out of it. I got my high school diploma, everything while I was in there. I just stayed focused each and every day and just not fooled around.
When I look back, and you said the pre-incarceration and post-incarceration, I remember at 9 years old, I almost caught my first body. I pushed another little boy in front of a car because I wanted to see him die. I remember that. And I remember where that came from. The abuse. That I didn't understand the difference until I became a man between fear and respect. I feared dudes that I couldn't win against. And I didn't respect anything else. And from that time till I was 13, when I plotted to kill my father, to the time when I'm in the street and I'm always proving that I wasn't weak. So my desire and my propensity for violence grew. I was not a good hustler. I was a better stick-up kid. I was better at violence because of all that pain and hurt. And if I could distribute more pain to you than I felt at that time, I felt better. That took me into the hells of prison. Whereas, sometimes you got to prove who you are against others. Until, like Russ said, you got tired. And I had to realize that I didn't want to die in prison because I thought that my soul would never leave prison. and dying in there with my soul trapped. And then sitting in them Griswold's crypts, I understood this. All my talents, all my gifts. I wrote 10 plays. We did 10 plays in there. All my gifts, being able to take everybody that nobody wanted, to utilize them in a play, to be able to be a role model, because we got enough mentors. But mentors have an ability to be corrupt. But when you are a role model, and then your life has purpose. I heard Minister Farrakhan say one of the greatest things I have ever heard. It's easy to kill a man, and it is, but it's hard to heal a man. And that's where the difference is. See, if you're willing to have that empathy, you have to have that love. And if you're willing to heal a man, then that's when you make the ultimate difference. That's why we say going into the depths of the darkness, because you are light. What you're doing is shedding light. What these brothers and this sister do is light. And that's the part of being, if you're going to be redeemed and restored, you got healers up here. And that's what makes the difference with this panel.
Oh Peace, King. And it's so crazy because I was ready to jump in there, and then, you know, twice as much as I speak. So the fact that I honor you and even sharing that, because the 2 for 1, whether it be why people chose, and I said this earlier, I did not know and understand when I was a child the domestic violences I was going through, being beat with 2x4s, stunned with stun guns. So by the time I made it to the streets of Philadelphia, my old head's like, you can hang with the best of them, let me put a pack in your hand. So when it was all said and done, so I acknowledge that in you, and then this is what I do now. I didn't say this because I'm always a husband, God-fearing husband, father, but I am the president of the NAACP. I run a healing center organizer portfolio at Aspen Institute. I serve 43 communities working with young people ages of 16 to 24. I volunteer here with I volunteer at the CA York High Wellness Wednesday. Stay humble, stay focused, but peep game. As a healer, the knowledge of self and who you are and the things that you have to overcome, that generational trauma. That's why I said the fact that my grandmother Tulsa massacre, she literally, those that were displaced literally stayed at her Muskogee Creek Junction, right? The fact that, okay, my mom and dad thought they was finding a better life in Philly, boom, it went separate ways, and I'm sitting down cross with my legs crossed, looking at the government bomb a community. And then you wonder why did they go to jail? Why did he choose that life of violence? The fact that the system was set up for a black man not to succeed, let's talk about it. The outcomes that come out of it. Come on, cuz. We're going to heal, we're going to restore, we're going to uplift.
And I don't have my pen because you guys are giving me some game. I'll tell you that. And just to piggyback, I think for me personally, what I realized is how important relationships are. Because when I was in jail, me going to the county was one thing, but when I went upstate and my daughter came and hugged me while I was sitting there in jail, that did something inside. When I returned and my wife was like, if you want that life, we're out. That did something mentally. So I literally made the decision where, I was already an entrepreneur. I just had to really figure that thing out. And the relationship that my wife and my daughter played really helped alter that, because my parents both were there and they both loved me, and it wasn't mental for me, right? I still chose to do those things, but when my wife said what she said and my daughter did what she did, everything changed for me. So I say that to encourage everybody that's here to love on people and to be honest with people and to help people, because the truth of the matter is we're all one decision away from being incarcerated. Any day we wake up, anybody can go to jail. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to do a quick raffle. So you guys grab your tickets. As soon as we're done that, the next voice you will hear will be my friend Judge Amber Craft. So we have 9 prizes. So what we're going to do is each panel member is going to get to pick a raffle ticket as we do this thing. We're going to do two right now. Also, just a quick note. At 1:45, we're gonna have a 10-minute intermission where you guys can go enjoy the concession stand and everything outside at 1:45. You guys know you might get
Read the numbers of the tickets. How many of y'all got red tickets? Oh, you want to win? Prison didn't change me, but God did. God did. My DJ Khaled voice. I'm gonna say it again. Prison didn't change me, but God did. God did. I got 691-753. Who wanna know what the last number is? 7. 691-7537. Come get it.
Come on down. Come on down.
Prison didn't change me, but God did. That's my favorite thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, my lucky winner is 691-7526.
And now I have the distinguished honor to introduce one of my favorite judges. Or I do have a few favorite judges, so I guess I should say that. But my friend Judge Amber Pratt. Please help me welcome.
All right, Tavon knows I'm not much of a public speaker, but he said just go up there and say what you want to say. So there's a couple things I want to say. First of all, I thought I was here to share a little bit about my job. I'm a criminal trial judge here in York County. I've been on the bench for about 5 years. More importantly, I'm the mother to 3, and I'm also a coach. But I feel like I'm being more educated here, that I'm gonna impart knowledge. So I really appreciate everyone and everything that they're sharing. It's been very powerful to me. And I was telling Commissioner Muldrow, one of the things I want to talk about is sentencing. Judges have a broad discretion in sentencing. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But I think I'm going to get creative with my sentencing, maybe make certain people watch this panel, right, as part of their sentence. So there's 2 things, well, there's a lot of things, but I want to keep it really simple because sentencing can be very complicated. But typically there's 2 things that I'm looking at with sentencing, and that's your prior record score. So what have you done before? And this is a mathematical formula put out by the Pennsylvania Sentencing Commission and their guidelines that I'm required to follow. They're looking at your prior record score, and then they're looking at the offense gravity score. So what you do before and how serious is what you're doing now, and then it gives me a range. And if I sentence someone within the standard range, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to say anything else on the record. If I want to mitigate that, if I want to make a sentence that's less than that, I have to put my reasons on the record. And if I want to aggravate that sentence and make it harsher, I have to put those sentences on, or I have to put those reasons on the record. So that's just kind of sentencing in a nutshell. I know probably some of our DAs think I'm a little softer than others, other judges, but I would like to think that I'm more compassionate, and I really try to take a lot of things into consideration when I'm sentencing people. It's absolutely, positively the most difficult part of my job. The other thing I want to talk about is treatment court, because that's my passion. And I know everyone's like, you heard Attorney Lombardo talk about diversion. What does diversion mean? Well, it means instead of going to prison, we're going to do something else to make things better. My family goes back 6 generations in York County. And I'm deeply committed to this community and making it better. That's why I'm here today. That's why I ran for judge. And now that I have a platform in which I can impact lives, it's really important that I do so. So I've been involved in 2 different treatment courts. We have 4. We have a mental health wellness court, we have a DUI wellness court, we have a drug wellness court, and we have a veterans wellness court. And for a period of time, about 3 years, I presided over drug wellness court. I'm taking a little break now. And I've also presided over veterans wellness court. So what happens is someone gets involved in the criminal justice system, and we'll use drug wellness court as an example, and they get, usually it's possession with intent to deliver. Maybe it's got a relatively harsh sentence, a state sentence, and we know someone has a serious drug problem. What we also know is putting them in prison, they're gonna come out and they're gonna recidivate. We talked about that. So what does work? What did the statistics show us? Treatment. So what we do in drug wellness court is we have a team, including probation officers, mental health professionals, drug and alcohol professionals. We have people in the recovery community that meet every single week to discuss what's going on with the people who are in our wellness court programs. Instead of going and being incarcerated, they're in the community receiving treatment. And it's absolutely wonderful to be a part of the wellness courts. They work exceptionally well. The statistics are all there. I won't get into them because they're kind of boring, but they're also very important to me to talk about, because I want buy-in from the community. Because I mean, maybe some of you here have heard it's a setup. Wellness court's a setup, drug court's a setup. And I'm just here to say it's not. And I just encourage you that if you have questions that you talk, you can come talk to me about it. You can talk to anyone from the DA's office or the public defender's office, and they can tell you why. And the judges involved in the treatment courts are very invested in our communities and making them better. But again, I want to thank everyone. I'm definitely going to use this panel in sentencing, because I think that's great, because I think everyone that I'm sentencing, not everyone, but certain people need to hear what you all have to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge Kraft. So before we continue to go, I just want to take a quick second to remind you guys to subscribe to I Am Tavon Parker. We're live streaming this. Share this with your friends and your network that isn't here. And I want to give one of our sponsors a chance to speak. Barley Snyder is one of the sponsors for this program, and I'm fortunate enough to have a lawyer from Barley Snyder on our board. I met her through Leadership York, and she's been so devoted and so helpful, and not just helping us understand the different legal aspects, but really giving back to the community, coming to volunteer with the kids. So Kate Rohrbaugh, can you come and say a few words about Barley?
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you all for coming out and supporting. Again, my name is Kate Rohrbaugh. I am an associate attorney with Barley Snyder and a board member, as Tavon mentioned. When Tavon and I met in Leadership York, and he said, we really need a lawyer on our board, and I heard about what the Advantage does. It really fit my background. I have a psych degree and a minor in criminal justice from Westchester, went to law school, and I actually co-opted with the Board of Pardons in Harrisburg, my 3L third year of law school. So if anybody is in need of a pro bono pardon application help, I'm happy to do that. We do a lot of them in York. So keep your eyes out for those. And Tavon obviously has my contact information. But at Barley, we do just about everything that you can think of in terms of legal work. And we are a huge supporter of the community and specifically young rising stars. So we are so happy to be able to support the Advantage program, the board that we have here today, and just the community in general. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming and spending time with us. And we hope you all enjoy.
All right. Let's jump back in. So just real quick, by a raise of hands, how many of you guys in the audience know somebody that is incarcerated or was incarcerated before? This is the reason why we're here today. So the next question I have for you guys on the panel, are there any specific programs that were beneficial to you while you were incarcerated or immediately after you were released?
I'm sorry, this is it was a little different from, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I did 5 jail bids before the light went off, right? And the last time I went to jail, the 5th time I was upstate and I was tired, my family was tired, and I was in the parole violators group upstate in SCI Albion. And Miss Ransom was her name, the facilitator, and she said something that made sense because guys was complaining, about DOC this and problems and, when they should be doing things different. And she said something that stuck with me that made sense, that helped change me. She was like, if you don't like the way we do business in DOC, stop bringing us your business. And that's what did it for me, to be honest with you, because I was like, you're right. I'm no longer a customer. And by the grace of God, this will be 10 years I've been home. I ain't been back since. Thank you.
That was dope. So when you say programs, so when I walked out of York County Prison in 2009, I think that there may have been programs, but one thing that, and I know like Tavon, you're doing, and it's just a lot of other programs, it's more accessible. We're talking about it more. Like there was things that was going on that was right here in York, and I didn't know about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to say no, but I will say, and this goes back to a few questions, but I will say, like with the mindset, it didn't take a program to change it, but it was the mindset. So, like when my mom died in jail, I'm not dying in there. Like I miss my mom dearly, but I'm not going back in there. You feel me? An opportunity. So it wasn't a program, and I always give kudos to Mr. Maldro. Like when I came home in 2009, I worked in like factories and things like that. But then in 2012, 2013, he gave me the opportunity to be a hall monitor, one of the best jobs I've ever had. That right there was my program, because now, as someone said, I wasn't a mentor, I was a role model, you understand? So it was like now that opportunity allowed me, even today, every day, because like you said, I'm one step away from going back to jail. All I gotta do is one little dumb thing and they got a bed waiting on me. But when you got these little people that when I walk in a room and they see me and they wanna hug me and they loving on me, that's my program. That's my program, so every day my program is, and I go to say it again, is more graduations and less funerals. You understand?
I take a shot at that. For me, it was different for me. It's just having to find out what was a real friend and what was a true friend. A friend that tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I had to realize that it wasn't a lot of those. And I had to learn how to become comfortable with being coached by friends who told me what I need to hear, even when I did not want to listen. So that was my first program to realize that all these 100 guys that I think is my friend is not my friend. Is this one guy who's telling me how to get my butt up, stop making excuses, get up even if you're tired. You put the same time in to get into trouble, so you're going to put double time in to get out of trouble. So that was my first program, peer support.
Before I got out, they had a program called the reentry program. Basically, it was with an agent. The agent was just placed in SCI Chester. And basically, this class had taught me how to deal with like budgeting my money, how to mess with like credit cards and debit cards, and basically like living under supervision. So basically, it got me prepared to come home. Basically, it was like everything you need to know as far as just getting yourself together and being a man. That's basically, that was good for me.
I like that.
Yeah, just one more. I did mention the RDAP program, which is, unfortunately, it's only available in the federal system. So it was definitely something that helped me a lot. But when I came home, and hearing Judge Kraft talk about having that flexibility as a judge, we established a program. We started in Dauphin County, and then we did it here. It's called the Successful Ex-Offender Mentoring Support Group. That program was piloted in Dauphin County. with myself. Shout out to Marsha Banks, who represented the female side. But the two of us were selected to be the first formerly incarcerated mentors to those coming home. Now, most of y'all know there's a law that if I have a felony and you have a felony, we can't hang with each other. We both going back to jail. And we ended up having, at that time, Mike Pottiger, who was over Dauphin County Probation and Parole, eventually the state. He actually established the opportunity for us to have that program. The reason why I'm sharing this is that sometimes the programs have to start with us. You know what I mean? Like, because the programs that we ended up, and this is the beautiful part, I love, Judge said that she would show the panel. There was a time where I was sitting in the probation office and a guy was being brought in for smoking weed. He got caught by his PO. His PO come to visit. He's smoking weed on the porch. And the PO is like, he didn't even put it out. He's like, well, you might as well take me. Let me get the lead, you know, whatever. So he's bringing him in to lock him up. And he sees me. And from seeing the success of our program, recidivism rate at 8%, if you took 18 months of the program, he said, you can either go back to jail or take Queen's program. I need y'all to understand the power that I did 10 and a half years in prison, and now I'm an alternative sentence for someone else not to go to jail. So when we talk about programs, if it doesn't exist now, create it yourself.
I just wanted to thank my sister Tiff and my brother on the end. He spoke about some of us didn't choose prison, prison chose us. And I say prophetically, prison, without prison, those lessons I say about having a foundation and having a program, my sister Tiff said, New Hope Academy Charter School was that program for me. Gentlemen Isaiah Anderson and Samuel Sutton took a shot at me right out of prison. They seen something in me at that point that I didn't see within myself. And given said, as I began to work and impart my gifts, most of which I wasn't sure of and didn't even know of, until I had the ability to spend some time alone in the cell, I was able to impart that knowledge and share, here are the things that you don't do and what you do to keep you out of that situation. And if I could share with anyone, one of the biggest things, get a mentor, man. Get a mentor. I have two of my mentors. One of my first mentors, Reverend Moses back there, and my other brother Sharif in the audience right there. Those two guys played pivotal roles in my life, as well as my new role models on this panel up here. I do a lot of talking today. I chose to be a little bit more quiet when I talk, and I just thank everybody for sharing. Thank you, brother.
So these, so just to give you guys a little brief, I have one more question. We'll have 7 minutes. Commissioner Marjorie will come and speak, and as soon as he's done, we'll have a brief intercession. But my question for you guys, and take a second to think about it if you may, because I'm one of those people where, good or bad, I realize that that's human made. It's experiences that we go through, and sometimes experiences are hard. And I realize when you go through those hard experiences, sometimes you just have to survive them, get to the other side, and then pull out the lesson that you need to learn in order to grow from it. And I say that to say, obviously, we've all did things that led us to incarceration. But what is one thing, and I just say one, but what is a principle that you learned while you were doing the wrong thing that's applicable to the other side of doing the right thing? And for me, it was really the economics of selling drugs and being able to turn that into an entrepreneurship business, where I now have 3 different businesses. So what is one thing that you guys learned while in the streets that's still applicable to you today now that you've changed your life?
Wow, I can jump in on that. I don't even have to think. That literally keeps me grounded right now, just continue to work with young people, because it was the big homie that saw something in me because I knew how to nut, that literally started seeking.
Yeah, we're live streaming.
Yes, sir. All right. So the fact that you know the mentor is real, but the role model, right? No matter what was going on in the house, that's that comfort of the streets. You know, I felt like I was at my home was hell, so the streets didn't have nothing for me. And that was that mindset again. But it was like there was as much as it was a negative thing, the fact that, you know, one of the big homies saw something in me as far as whether it be the willing to fight for what I thought was mine. That was literally a big homie, like, oh snap, I'm gonna put him on my team. So that negative influence, and this is why I continue to try, stay humble, stay focused, be that light, working with the young people throughout our school district and in my career and with my own children who have become my medicine, because the gift is there. As young people, we have the gift, you know, but then there's a level of like cultivating and even leadership development, whether it be role models and even the family being that nucleus so they can go into the world. I carry that to me to this day. So it may have been something learned and I felt like I was used, but to God's glory.
Stuff, bro. And I get you because you don't want to be corny, making the transfer, the transition. And I had to learn that I could be a legit hustler or even a negative hustler. And it was up to me to use that vocabulary the way that I wanted to use it, whether it was negative or positive. And I had to learn that I could become a champion of God's children, the best children. And so that meant that you had to come through me. If you was a guy coming out of jail for murdering a person, you came to one day at a time. If you was a mom that was lost and you wanted to get off of drugs, you came to one day at a time. So for me, it became that I could become a real boss over the block instead of becoming somebody, you know, standing in line going into prison, supporting the justice system and supporting that business. So for me, it was definitely understanding that the ideology of it, that I can turn it around and make it appealing to the hustlers that's out there too, to make them want to transition and change their life. You hear it in the rap music every day. You hear 50 Cent talk about all his music that he hustling. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, that's a legit hustle that he's doing. Now it's us on the street who would take that and do something with it that's negative, but we got to recognize that there's really a legitimate hustle out there and that you could become a real boss, a real CEO. You can get millions of dollars, you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing the right thing. And I say this and I end out on this. We are the solution. So everybody's on this stage. I don't care if you've been to Harvard, wherever you've been, you don't have what we have. Because God put in us what we have, and it's going to take us to be able to go out there and save those who want to become legitimate hustlers, the healers that go into the darkness where everybody with the highest degrees, and I got a college degree myself, so I'm not knocking that, but those who got the highest college degrees are scared to go into the darkness when we were actually made by our darkness and that was shining from the darkness.
That was dope. I always pick up the mic after somebody drops something good. I always pick up the mic. But I got excited with this question because I'm telling you, as I was coming here, my mind was racing. And this is the second question that you asked that I was prepared for. So it's like, you know, when you're in school and you know the answer to the test, you be hyped to write that thing down. You know, seriously. So like I said to you guys earlier, because of my upbringing, and you know, like I said, my grandmother, she did the best she could with what she had. So I thank God for it. However, my goal at a very young age was to be a queen pin. But I didn't understand what being a queen pin was going to take. So when, you know, and I got to call myself this, when my dumb self decided to try to sell drugs, I was like, I was the worst drug dealer there was. Like, I'm surprised I didn't get caught and go upstate because I wouldn't sell to certain people and I wouldn't sell to kids. And how was I ever going to be this big drug dealer if I'm only selling to certain people, you know? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you don't get none, but he can. But with that being said, I've realized that back then, I've always been that protector. You know, I've always wanted to, like, I didn't want the kids to see me. You know what I'm saying? When I was smoking weed, I would literally hide my blunt. You know what I mean? I had friends that told me they didn't know I smoked cigarettes for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always been that person that wanted to be better, even when I was doing wrong. So it's like, when I look back to all of that stuff, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense why I go so hard for my babies. It makes sense why, you know, I don't want to be, I want to be a role model. You know what I'm saying? So as you said, like, what the position that I hold today, I hold it with grace and gratitude, because again, I want my kids, because I know there's a child out here that is just as dumb as me and wants to do the same dumb thing I was thinking, and I understand that. But in the same breath, I am not big on titles, but when I see my kids, I make my kids understand who I am and what I do. You know what I'm saying? And then after I tell them that, I tell them, well, you know, Miss Tip was in jail, and they don't want to believe it. You know what I mean? They don't want to believe it. So I just take the dumbness that I look back at it. That's what it is. It's just I look back and I'm like, okay, Tiff, you've always been a nurturer. You've always been a protector. You've always wanted to save these kids, even when I was doing wrong. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what I would take from it.
I love it. I love it. As far as I look at it as me running around like selling drugs, I feel like now, like putting that negative energy into basically positive. People clown me now to this day because I run around out my car selling t-shirts and hoodies. But okay, I'm making money and it's positive, and I ain't gotta worry about going back to jail. So why not put that negative energy, take that negative and turn it to positive? And I know I'm doing something right each and every day. No matter what it is, I know I'm doing it right. So that's what I'm gonna continue to do. Steady going back. I love it. I love it.
Got before incarceration, I think about how broken I was, how hurt I was. And I think that is one of the greatest motivators that I have now, because a lot of things that I do, I have to think in introspection on what had got me caught up. Because I look at the abuse that I suffered, and I look at the fact that my experiences was older than my age. So when I see these young people, I see that their experience is younger than their age. If their mother's on crack or the father's on dope, they getting grown folks' experience at a child's level. So when they are 5, how do they play with other 5-year-olds when the devastation in their house will not allow them? At 10, if I'm thinking about murder at 9, how many other little boys or girls thinking of murder at 9 because of the hurts that they feel? When they see those devastating things like that, now you're talking about a broken soul that don't even know why it's broken. You're talking about somebody that's angry, somebody that's hurt, don't know why. And when you talk to them, a lot of them talk at them, opposed to saying, hey, I understand now, let us talk. Because we need to bring you from the dark that you don't even understand. So when brothers talk about that recovery piece, when brothers talk about that reentry piece, when you talk about peer support, and I'm gonna cut this real short, real quick. I understand that when I go into the dark, right, that you suffering from an addiction. So I got to help you fight that, because one, I know what it was because I used to smoke sherms. Sherms is both that are cigarette Newports or Cools dipped into some liquid PCP. And I remember almost blowing my eyebrows off. So I know about addiction. I remember with the weed and how I would lace it with crack. Just so when I go out on the strip, I ain't have no feeling about what I was about to do to somebody else. I know that. Because when certain songs come on, I can still smell it. So I know about addiction. I know about the reentry piece when somebody says you are nobody when you come home, all you are is a number. So the negativity that is instantly there because you don't want to change places, people, and things. And then the last part about that is when I go into that darkness with you, I understand that you might have fear, you might have doubt, you might have some kind of trauma that you don't know how. That's why on this panel it's so important that when you go inside those dismal crypts, when you go inside them, you got to be like Jesus when he got Lazarus behind that stone, boulder, because that's the same darkness. Because we was all dead when we went into the spot. All dead. So we understand that you was dead going in, you was buried, now you resurrected. The man, many are called and few are chosen. Not to be on that type of tip, but this is why you got to understand who you were when you was going in, who you grew up to be, why you was in, and the mission when you come out.
That's one.
He was kind of nervous to say, so I said, no, you better say something, man. That's what happened.
Well, for me, it was it was dark. It was real dark at a young age, and me speaking from the addict aspect. What sparked in my brain was when I was in the depths of hell with the disease of addiction. I'm talking about waking up and you gotta go get something in you because you don't want to be sick. I get emotional when I talk now because I remember this disease. My disease had me lying, coming home to my wife, saying I ain't make no money. I'm a barber. How you ain't make no money? See, people don't know. In the beginning, it was fun. This old head walked up on me one time. He said, "Young boy, you the only one in the club on the dance floor by yourself. Everyone done moved on. They started businesses. They started families. They bought cars. And you still in the middle of the dance floor, and the dance floor, the club that you used to go to, it's a bank now. This club you used to go to, it's a church now. It's a mosque now. And I'm looking around, and all I could think about was, what am I doing to myself? But in the back of my mind, I had a picture of this right here, of where I'm at today. When I was deep in my addiction, I remember my daughter was stealing. No, I was stealing. Let me flip it. The truth, my mind a little messed up because of all the drugs that I had in my system. But my daughter was saving some money for her mother for her birthday. And being as though I'm a barber, she had a piggy bank, and I would go into the piggy bank, and being as though I had, clients, I would come back, put the money back. But one time I didn't put it back, and she checked me. I'm not going to tell you her age at this time, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the story. So this other time, I went in there, and she said, "Dad, you told me you ain't going to do this no more." I said, "I'm not. Just let me get $10, and I'm going to put it back. I promise. I'll never ask you again." Don't you know, the very next day, I went in that piggy bank and took all that money that young lady saved. She was only 10 years old at this time. I'm supposed to be the protector. I'm supposed to be a father. This is someone that she looks up to. I'm supposed to be the one that she come to when she got a problem with the world. And I'm the first man, not her first husband or boyfriend to break her heart. I'm the first man that broke that young lady's heart. I'm talking about the disease of addiction. Because when she caught me, the only thing I could think about was, "Girl, get out my way so I can go get high." See, a lot of us need to understand this flip side to this disease of addiction. Because when you reach that point, it's not that you want to do it. It's not that I wanted to break her heart. It's not that I wanted to break my family. It's not that I wanted to wake up every day and go chase that drug. I'm talking about on my way to go get that heroin or go get that pill or go get that drink, and I'm pissing and shitting on myself. Excuse my language, kid. But I got to give you the real. I always had in the back of my mind that I'm going to be something. So the turning point for me was having this vision in my mind, and I knew it was going to take work. And so I woke up one day, I'm sitting on the side of the bed, and instead of asking my wife for $20, because she knew what I was going to go do, I said, "I'm going to rehab." And she played like, "Well, what's wrong? I thought you was going to the meetings." I said, "No, I've been getting high." But I'm telling you, young men and young ladies that's here today, this all started when I was your age. And if you're going through anything right now, anything, talk to someone. If it ain't your mother, if it ain't your father, if it ain't somebody that you know, talk to the counselors at school. You got to open up your mouth, because if I had opened up my mouth when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, maybe I would have ended up on drugs and alcohol. But that day that I woke up sitting on the side of that bed 8.5 years ago, I saw myself in suits. I saw myself speaking to the youth. Actually, when I was just sitting here, I swear to God, what you call that? When something happened, deja vu just happened. Because I saw myself somewhere. I saw myself somewhere and I put myself there, and I'm still getting myself there by doing the work. I want everyone that's going through the disease of addiction. It is my purpose. And I felt it that day when I sat on that bed that first I got to save me, and then I'm going to go save somebody else. One day at a time, one soul at a time. And that's what I've been doing every day since I got out of rehab. They told me, the rehab told me this: you can't come back for 30 days if you want to come speak. I got out on Sunday. I was back up there that Sunday. And I've been speaking. I was going there until COVID stopped us every week to go speak, to go save a soul for 8.5 years. And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me going. And that's my calling. It's my story. And my story is meant. And I appreciate everything that God put me through. I love it now. I hated what I went through, but I love it now because now I'm able to go in the depths of hell. In the depths of hell. Anybody know about Kensington, Philadelphia? I'm talking about you have people down there in wheelchairs with open wounds down to the bone. And if I'm able, and God has given me the wisdom, giving me the pain, the struggle, giving me the gift, giving me the mercy to go and pull somebody out. That's what success is, and that's what greatness is for me.
That's beautiful. I thank you guys all for your feedback, your perspective, and your answers. At this time, Commissioner Muldrow, the next voice we'll hear is from the head, the chief, the commissioner of the police here in the city of York. He's my friend. He's one of my mentors. I've actually known him since I was just a kid, and I'm pretty sure he'll tell you guys that I'm his president, but I have no ambitions in politics. But please help me welcome Commissioner Muldrow.
So first and foremost, let me bring this down a little bit because I'm short. It's funny, before I get into what I wanted to say today, it's funny to be here right now and be on this stage, and me and Miss Steph were talking a second ago about the other people that need to be in a room like this and witness an event like this and hear stories like this. And I as I was sitting there, we were having that conversation, I found it funny because if anybody knows anything about law enforcement, one of the first things when you're going through the testing process, and Judge Morgan can attest to this, one of the first questions you're asked is, do you associate with known felons? And I've always gotten a little bit of a smile on my face when I answer that part of the test, when I answer that question, because of the dad that I had, the man that led me to law enforcement and showed me how to do it, who used to always say, absolutely. I'm proud of the fact that I associate with known felons. I'm proud of the fact that I associate with anybody and everybody, because that's what allows me to be the man that God calls me to be. So, regardless of your record or your resume or your reason for being here today, what I want everyone to be able to walk away from this moment with is the fact that everybody in this room has at least one thing in common. None of us is perfect. We all make mistakes. I know good people with records, and I know bad people with great titles. As a society, as the situationally judgmental people we can often be, note, I say situationally judgmental because in my 20 plus years of wearing this badge, I've learned everyone wants people strung up and held accountable to the fullest until the situation involves someone that we love or care about. Then we know grace. Then we know mercy. Then we want to give second chances. See, collectively, we have to push ourselves to remember one bad chapter doesn't make the whole book bad. We got to stop being so quick to put people back on the shelf because we're wasting a lot of talent, missing a lot of opportunities, throwing away a lot of good ideas that way. I contend at this point, guys like Tavon, Brother Queen, Casper, and Big John Ayers have positively impacted 2 or 3 times the number of people that they've never negatively affected in their lives. But you got to get to know them to see it. You got to hear their stories. And to do that, we have to be willing to open doors for them, open our hearts to them. And why is that good business for people of position? Because opportunity increases the odds of people not falling back into bad decision making. And more practically, because I had a guy like Javon, Boo Boo DeShields in school. I know that he's more than what he did when he got in trouble. I know how influential he is. And the same thing that makes a guy like him, a guy like you, influential on the street, can influence people to get off the street. Because I've watched a guy like Javon Matthews, without a badge, without a gun, without a vest, put his life on the line in the middle of an armed robbery just to save somebody he didn't know. But if all you know about a person is an affidavit, an inmate number, their offense gravity score, and that negative headline that you read in the paper, of course you're going to think they're monsters that society needs to be protected from forever. That's why my focus has always been tempering authority and response with relationship and reason. Because I understand the adversarial system, as it's referred to in our textbook, doesn't have to be so adversarial. And that's what gives me hope. That's what allows me to stand up here as a proud part of this system and still walk the streets wherever I want to go, with or without a gun. Because I know people in positions like the people that are here with you today who dare to do things a little different. Because we believe when we're doing our jobs, applying rules and regulations and making decisions, it's important to remember we deal in people. Flawed, imperfect, and redeemable people. People just like us, just like the person we were on that night we decided to drive home with a few too many drinks in our system. But for the grace of God, we didn't kill anybody and didn't get caught. People just like the bad uncle, the wayward child, the criminal cousin we may have buried a little deeper in the back of our closets on hidden branches of our family trees. The loved ones that, although they did bad things, we still care about, despite the bad decisions and bad behavior. See, like Tavon said a minute ago, we are all just a few degrees of separation from representing here today as part of the system or having been through it. So in conclusion, while I know I can't change people's thinking and opinions overnight inside of our station or on the outside, as a police leader, what I can do, as part of the system, what I can do on the inside, I can set policy that puts people first. I can bring and involve good people like Tiff Lowe and Jamil Alexander who work with empathy and compassion and change the landscape of our profession. I can work to help assure people get a fair shake, and I can fight to create a culture of respect. That's how I change the narrative. That's my contribution to the goal of more graduations and less funerals. That's how I look in the mirror knowing I did more than just talk and criticize other people. That's how I keep a community alive, the community that I love. That's how I keep them safe. And trust me, that can be a heavy lift at times because I recognize there's a lot of pressure pushing against all of us sitting here today, all the time. So for that, I want to commend all of my colleagues for going against the grain and choosing to be here today. You know, and I know that was brave because it's not the usual course of action to participate in things like this. And to all the people on the panel who came here this afternoon, putting your scarlet letter on display for the whole world to see, for the purpose of just trying to help somebody else. deal with their crossroads and make better decisions. I want to say that I love you, I appreciate you, and I'm proud of each of you. Thank you.
We love you,
That was outstanding. And I also thank everybody that's here. At this time, we're going to take a brief intermission. I had 15 minutes planned, but let's shoot for 10. So it's now 2 o'clock. So I'll see everybody back in their seats at 2:10. Please, before you guys go, anybody that is a vendor out there, I'll give you guys a few seconds head start. We're going to pick 2 more tickets. If you're a vendor, I guess you're going to miss. If the panel could give me 1 second, we're gonna pick 2 more tickets. So we're gonna pick 2 more tickets. The vendors are gonna go out there and make sure that they can set up before you guys get out there. Please feel free to visit the concession stand and everything that's out there. And they're gonna read the numbers now. Is the mic's off?
Check, check. Use this one.
Ticket number 6917518.
Where's his prize? Okay. Next ticket number is 6917536. 7536. Anybody? You got? Okay.
Oh, turn that light back on. Turn that light back on. Come on now, Queen. Marcus, come on now. There we go. Yeah. Appreciate
I will see everybody back in here at 2:10. At 2:10.
Did you just get here? Or you just get back here? Oh, okay. Down the house just like this. I saw the sun shining. And I was like, oh, walked out, like, and it came in here. I'm like, oh, yeah. So now it's too frozen to even
You better run to your exit.
yeah, there's just no need for me to go up and
I'm just gonna walk to get warm here.
Right. And actually, and then they already see you all their life. So I'll make them up in the morning before my shift, before I go work, before I drive, I'll eat and food.
You walk around.
I will drive.
Yeah. That's funny. I see they trust you.
Now we make one of those. I'm a boss, right?
Mic check one. It's crazy. It's already 2:12. So I'm gonna go out here and get everybody back in. Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, he flicked it a couple times. I think he was looking at what's going
Oh my God.
Eric, let go. Up there.
Mic check, mic check. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. I intentionally targeted 220, so that if we can start finding our seats, get the panel members back up here. Uh-oh, when the lights change, it's time. Yeah, we got waiting on all of our panels back. All right, let's get this thing started back up again. Thank you guys, obviously, for your time, for coming back. Don't forget, I am Tavon Parker on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe and share. We are live streaming this, and I'm pretty sure that there's some people that missed it. And if you share it, it's going to give them the opportunity to make sure that they can see this amazing event as well. So what I'm going to do before we jump back in is give BML Construction a chance to speak. My good friend Brian Singer works BLM Construction, a chance to speak. My good friend Brian Singer works with them. They graciously sponsored this panel. So without further ado, could you guys help me welcome Brian Singer? One of the few people that make me look short.
I wanted to first thank Tavon for putting on this awesome event and thank the panelists for their testimony here today. For those of you who don't know, we're BLM Construction, proud to sponsor this event. We're right down the road. We're about a mile down the road, and we believe that it takes a village. And For those of you who are interested in perhaps employment or you have subcontractor services, if you weren't able to get a packet at our table over here, you can get on our website, blmconstruction.net. We're always looking for good talent, and we are equal opportunity. So just want to be brief. Thank everyone again, and happy to be here. Thank you.
So before we jump in with the questions I have for the panel, I do want to allow another one of my favorite judges the opportunity to speak. Judge Flannelly, if you would grace the stage. Judge Flannelly and I work together. I sit on the juvenile wellness court as a mentor, and that's where I met Judge Flannelly. And just to be brief, I'm one of those people that I try to meet. When I meet good people, I try to stay by them. And I'm honored to be called Judge Flannelly a friend, as well as know him and know exactly the work he does, which he's going to share with you guys now. So please help me in greeting Judge Flannelly.
Thanks, Tavon. And just want to say I'm really humbled by what everybody's been saying today. It's been amazing. And I was really glad after Commissioner Muldrow spoke that there was a intermission so that everybody can forget how good he was, and then I'm not held to that same standard. I've been privileged to be on the bench for about 9 years now. My area that I focus on mainly is juvenile delinquency. And Tavon asked me to kind of highlight some of the differences between the juvenile system and the adult system. In the juvenile system, our proceedings are not public. Everything is private for the purpose of protecting the privacy of the young folks. There's no jury, and for better or worse, that means that I act as the jury and the judge on each case. Our emphasis is on treatment along with accountability, which is a little different, obviously, from the adult system, where there are things like mandatory minimum sentences. The thing that most kids don't understand when they come in front of me is that I don't sentence kids to specific periods of time. We're on probation until the treatment has taken place, and you're good to go. The other thing that people don't understand is that we do have residential treatment facilities, and I think a couple of people on the panel indicated that they have been in, we call them residential treatment facilities. You may have had a different name for them, but that is something that we use as a last resort. My goal is to find what is the least restrictive alternative available for each and every kid that appears in front of me. And hopefully that means that a residential treatment facility is not one of the things that I'm discussing. There are some similarities as well with the adult system. Every child has a right to have an attorney. Nobody ever appears in front of me unless they have an attorney by their side or a parent or a guardian by their side. Also, everybody has a right to have a trial and the right to appeal my decisions. So why do we treat kids differently than we treat adults? What we know from neuroscience is that kids' brains don't mature until their mid-20s. And this is particularly true, and I'm sure this will be no surprise to the women in the crowd, that boys' brains mature more slowly than girls. It's science. What does this mean as far as committing crimes for juveniles? It means that juvenile is more likely to be influenced by peers, likely to engage in risky behaviors than an adult, experience mood swings, and overreact to situations. In other words, kids are more likely to commit crimes out of impulse or in the presence of peers. The job of the juvenile system is to match kids with a resolution that considers treatment, education, and accountability. So what are the options available to a judge? Well, some of the options actually don't even bring or come to my attention. We use in York County what is known as warn-in counsel. These are kids who come into the system usually for the first time. They meet with a probation officer. The probation officer kind of lays out the law to them and lets them off the hook. We keep a record of that. And the vast majority of the kids who are given the warning counsel rarely come back. We give consent decrees, which are basically kind of an opportunity for a kid to go on informal probation, complete some terms, and then their charges are expunged, so to speak. The next alternative is probation in the community. That we give treatment, we may give community service. There may be some costs and fines or restitution associated with that. The last resort, as I said before, is a residential treatment facility. And there are different kinds of those. It's not kind of like a jail that you might have in your mind for a juvenile. Some of these are institutions that provide mental health specific treatment or drug and alcohol treatment. Some are specifically designed for sex offender treatment. We also have what are known as secure detention facilities, which I think is what most people think of. This is very rare. I don't think I have any kids, and I see half of the juvenile delinquents in York County, and I don't believe I have any kids right now in a secure detention facility. So how do we decide what happens? This is usually kind of a group decision, even though there's an adversarial decision, there's a process, there's a DA, there's a public defender most often. But we look at things like a YLS score, which is a way that we take a look at a kid's background, their prior records, all those types of things, and determine, are they really a danger to the community? And if not, we try to figure out a way that's going to take care of their situation without additional time in any kind of incarceration. We do drug and alcohol evals, psych evals. All those things are used to try to determine what happens next. Tavon's been in my courtroom a few times, so he probably, hopefully, has gathered this from being in there. Everybody is treated with respect. This means parents, the juvenile. That means the sheriff deputy is treat the person with respect. If I'm going to treat the person with respect as well. Everybody has a voice in my courtroom. This means the kid and the parents are always consulted at each and every hearing as far as what their thoughts are. I may not always agree with what their thoughts are, but they at least have that voice. And every young person in my courtroom is an individual who has specific problems and needs, and that hopefully we can address those during the proceeding. I just wanted to talk about a few trends in juvenile justice. Arrest rates for violent crimes are down 72% over the last 10 years. Total days in residential care are down 77% over the last 10 years. Here's a statistics which always blows everybody's mind. The average cost to keep a juvenile in a state facility is $192,000 a year, which is 50 times the cost of providing family-based therapy or other types of therapy. So imagine if that investment in children were placed in other locations, right? Yeah. So recidivism after case closure in 2019 is about 11%. That is down. It's been the lowest we've been tracking for the last 10 years. This is the 2019 stat. York is one of the 7 counties in Pennsylvania where over 1/2 of the juvenile allegations end up in a pretrial diversion. A couple of things I want to mention. Judge Kraft said there were 4 wellness courts in York County. How many wellness courts are there actually? There are 5 wellness courts. I preside over the juvenile wellness court, and Tavon is a advocate or mentor as part of the program. And he does a great job. Our wellness court is for kids who have, most of them have a dual diagnosis of mental health issues as well as drug and alcohol issues. They receive counseling and therapy in the community. Their parents come to court with them on a regular basis. And what's amazing is, you don't see this every time, obviously. I'm not going to blow a lot of sunshine up everybody's skirts here, but what's amazing is at the end is you see parents and children who were barely able to sit next to each other when they started coming into juvenile wellness court. At the end, are sitting next to each other comfortably and having those kinds of conversations that you would hope that a parent and a child would have. Are there things that we can do better? Absolutely. Pennsylvania is among many states that allow direct files for children who are 15 to 18 years old. This means if you have committed a certain crime as a 15-year-old, you are automatically charged as an adult. Now, I don't know, ADA Lombardo may have a different perspective on this, I don't know. But as the brain science has told us, 15-year-olds perhaps should not be treated the same as a 25-year-old with regards to those charges. I'm a Presbyterian, so I'm a member of the Frozen Chosen. But that's the best I can do. And the other thing that we can do a lot better on is youth of color are overrepresented in our state facilities. And I will say that we are looking into that right now. Attorney Lombardo and I are both on a panel which is looking into those issues and trying to address those types of things. So when I first started, I was seeing kids for schoolyard fights and what have you. To the credit of the district attorney's office and the police departments, the dumb stuff that used to come in front of me on a routine basis is no longer coming in front of me. The kids who actually need treatment are the ones who are generally speaking in my court. So things are better, probably better than when you guys were juveniles. But yeah, we got a ways to go, and hopefully we'll get there someday. So thank you.
Outstanding, outstanding. And thank you, Judge Flannelly and all the judges, because like I said, it's really important to be educated. It's really easy to have an opinion about something that you don't even know about. But the more facts, the more statistics, and the more education we have, the bigger our chances to actually make an impact that we're looking to make. So jumping back to the panel, I hope you guys are well rested and gave your brains a chance to decompress, because we're jumping back in. One of the questions I have is actually piggybacking off of what Judge Flannelly just talked about. When it comes to the judicial system and the justice, sometimes the injustice system, if you had a magic wand and could just wave it, what is one thing that you would look to change?
I'll take a shot at that first. If there was one thing I could change in regards to the judicial system, it would be nothing. The thing that I would change, the magic wand that I would change, I would point that at the individual so they can learn to take responsibility for themselves. If you understand the system has been in place for some time, and it wasn't put in place for the fairness of all. So when we begin to take responsibility over ourselves, we begin to govern ourselves. That means there's less chances that we have to deal with the system, and the only system we should be accountable for is our own.
Cousin Tiff, this was the question I had studied for. I was prepared, but I'm mad now because he only said one thing, and I'm in chapter 4 of my dissertation. Y'all pray for me. Next time y'all see me, it'll be Reverend Dr. John. But my dissertation is creating a faith-based reentry program that allows the formerly incarcerated to mentor and walk with those who are coming home. The work we've been doing for years. And the program is actually called Walk With Me. So the one thing that I would change, and I want to use this chair as the illustration, in most of the situations where legislation is being developed, policies, procedures, systems, there's always someone missing from that table. Yeah. And that someone missing is what you see up here, those who have been through the system, those who have changed their lives, those who have the most insight in what it will take to make something better. Now, here's the caveat. I need y'all to understand that a lot of times the judgment that y'all have about, well, how would we let someone who's been in jail help make laws or help be a part of the solution for reducing the sentencing guidelines? That's one of the ones they should change. Or taking away the discretion that judges should have, giving them more discretion, more flexibility to sentence people situationally. But the judgment comes from people not being willing to be transparent themselves. This brother here poured out his heart about what helped him change his life. And even in the dark with the lights, I could see some of y'all faces like, ooh, but permission, Tavon, just a question for them. How many of you, by show of hands, are also ex-offenders? Where are my ex-offenders at? Let me see you, raise your hand. Be proud about it. Ex-offenders, raise your hands. Okay, I'm gonna be polite with y'all because I'm in a good mood. If you didn't raise your hand, you a lie because you've offended somebody in your life at some time. I didn't say whether or not you've been to prison. I said, are you an ex-offender? If you're not an ex-offender, you're a current offender, and that's even worse. So I'm gonna try it one more time. Any ex-offenders in the room, can you raise your hand and say you too have offended somebody in your life at one time or another? Because the fact is that we are all guilty. Amen? So what I would change is allow more people like us to be at the table when we're making the decisions that impact the lives of those that are like us. Because all of y'all are like us. Amen?
Tiff, is happening again.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it never fails. I'm gonna stop picking up this mic. I'm trying to pick it up first. That was great. So I kind of dislike when I get here, when I'm being a little bit too real. But what I would do is, I would challenge those that sit at those tables that they don't want us to sit at. And I would challenge them to come to the Advantage program and meet these young kids before you go sentence them. I would challenge you to, come do these walks with GVI and the community work. I would challenge you to get from behind your desk and do a little bit more before you want to go sentence them, because at the end of the day, the people that are making these decisions and things like that, y'all don't know us. Y'all don't know these kids. Y'all just know them by their docket number, and that's about it. Get to know them by their name. So what I'm challenging those people is, like, I agree. I don't think that any of us have lived to see the day where the laws are changed and things like that. But the lawmakers right now, you got to do more. So I'm just saying, get from behind your desk, drop the gavel, and come to the Advantage program and help with these young men before you want to give them a life sentence.
Anybody else? Okay.
Take a shot to one of the things for me would be family therapy. I think we focus on so much of the person that's getting incarcerated, we forget about the family that's being affected. And what happens is the man, and I'm speaking up right now, even for my brother-in-law who's in jail, and I'm just watching him. He has a great heart. And I'm wondering, Fred, how long he's going to keep that great heart, because there's so many things that his family's affected by that's starting to make his heart even harder. And it's starting to make his kids, maybe behind that years from now, will start to get in line and their hearts will be hard too. So I hope we can start focusing on the family that's affected and not just the individual. And that way they have a family to return home to. When you take a family from a man, even back in slavery days, what they used to turn us into, and our heart used to get hard, what you saw from that? You've seen anger, you've seen all types of things that happen from there. So I hope that we can start focusing on not just but the individual, but the family that's being affected, and breaking those chains from the residual rate of people going in and out of prison. So that's it for me.
Beautiful. So in my opinion, I think that it should be a mandate for the people that are in those positions to do exactly what Tiff said. And the reason being, obviously I have relationships with the judges here, but they've been to the Advantage program, they work with the kids. It's very hard to sentence somebody when you don't have that relationship there. And they have these appointed positions because they're serving the community. And if you're going to serve the community in one aspect, there's multiple ways that you can serve the community. So my suggestion for that side of the judicial system is to mandate I don't want to call it community service because that's it's usually deemed as a punishment, but mandate that they serve the community not just as a job, but as volunteerism. With that said, Judge Morgan is on deck. So what we're going to do while he makes his way up here, we have two more tickets we're about to do. Two more tickets we're about to do. So pull your red tickets back out and make sure you're tuning in, because these are good prizes. The next go round is going to be one of my favorite prizes. So can you guys read your tickets for me?
All right, here we go. 691, I hope one of my babies got it. 7541. There you go. Is it one of my babies? You have it? No? Okay. 691 7541. No?
691-7528, 691-7528. Let's go.
All right, here we go. 691-7525. Come on. Yeah.
Amazing. Congratulations on your prizes. If you guys could, he's up here. He's the man. I've known him for a long time. He has a lot to share. So if you guys could help me greet Judge Morgan.
I'm gonna raise this a little bit because I'm not as short as Mike. Or as short as Tavon. I want to thank Tavon and his organization, his group, and all the panelists for allowing me to come and speak, and for all of you taking time out of your day to come listen to what we all have to say. It's unfortunate that I guess I bring up the rear. But what I want to share with the panel and share with all of you that I'm a magisterial district judge in York, District Court 19102. My name is James Morgan. I'm the first African-American magisterial district judge in York County. With that said, we have two others after me, so since I was tall enough, I opened the door and let them in. What I want to share with the panel is that I'm from Chester, Pennsylvania. I was educated junior high and high school in Chester. And if not for God, there goes me. If you know anything about Chester, I could have just as easily been sitting up here as a panelist. I attended York College here in York, and that's how I ended up in York, and was successful in obtaining my bachelor's degree and my master's degree from Grand Canyon University. And if someone said to me, did I plan in my career in law enforcement to be a district judge, I would have said no. And no, because it wasn't my plan. It was God's plan. And I look back and I say, he placed me there for a reason. Because just listening to them, you have to go through something to appreciate where you're at or where you're going. You've got to go through something. And not only do you go through something in your life, there's a reason you go through it, is to have a story to tell, to be able to share with someone else what you've gone through. And I just pulled from a lot of what they had to say, and they talked about mindset. Our people, our young people, and some of our older individuals have to change their mindset. I don't dispute that there isn't some discrepancy with the way you're treated by law enforcement, but it doesn't help when you have already in your mindset that you dislike the police or that you anticipate they're going to treat you wrong. Like a gentleman up here said, accept your responsibilities. No excuses. Excuses are tools of the incompetent used to build monuments of nothingness. And those who specialize in them seldom specialize in anything else. I share that with everyone in my court that tries to spit excuses. I don't accept excuses. I try not,
and I'm sure I'm guilty at times, I try not to give excuses myself because it doesn't get you anywhere, especially when you come to my court with excuses. Accept your responsibility. My court, I open my court with compassion and empathy for everybody. But I will say that you were correct. I have been an offender. I offended people in the past. I like that. But however, I've changed my mindset and I no longer offend. And I do listen. I listen to like-minded individuals. And that's another key thing. Our young people have to learn to surround themselves with like-minded individuals. I know all these individuals that have made progress and changes are no longer associated with those individuals who put negative in. Because negative in is negative out. Positive in is positive out. And our young people that are here today, they're hearing positive. See, 100 or 200 others that did not come, if they surround themselves with 2 or 3 of those individuals, the same as the epidemic of crack and everything else went. One individual surrounded and introduced one other individual, and that individual introduced 2 or 3 other individuals, and it became an epidemic. We've got to do that with our mindset of our children and having them surround themselves with like-minded individuals. So I appreciate the fact that I had an opportunity to come up here and to listen to what you all had to say. It didn't lay on deaf ears. And you gave me something that I can share with individuals who come in my court, not only with excuses, but feeling as though they're a victim. See, they got to change that mentality. How do you not become a victim? Don't drive dirty or ride dirty. Make sure your license is straight. Make sure you don't have any parking tickets that are outstanding. Make sure you don't have any warrants. And make sure you drive correctly. Then you have no reason to be stopped. Now, I've had situations, and I spent over 20 years in law enforcement and now 7 years on the bench, and I was actually stopped by police officers and set up on a vehicle stop. But the key was I wasn't riding dirty. See? Plus, I knew what was going on. I was able to, I was able to defend myself in court on it because, one, if I was riding dirty and I had a parking ticket or a warrant, and because they set me up in the vehicle stop, it would have been a moot point because I had a warrant. So how am I going to fight it? I was wrong. I was riding dirty. However, I was not riding dirty, and they didn't know who they were dealing with because I had been away from the police force since 1990, and this happened in, I believe, like 2010 or 2011. I was riding in an area that they consider the city a bad area because they don't live there. So 8 or 10, 12 hours a day that they work, they deal with the bad element. So they think anybody that lives within that 5 miles is part of the bad element. Well, I'm not part of that bad element. And I'm not afraid to live amongst my people. Okay, I was raised amongst my people. And believe me, York was nothing like where I came from. So I was not afraid, still not afraid to be amongst my people. But they treated me as though I was part of that bad element that they deal with on a daily basis. So not only does my mindset have to change, theirs has to change too. And they can't come thinking that they're in danger or that I'm a threat to them. And then I've got to think that they're not a threat to me because I'm not riding dirty. It's something that we all have to work on. I think somebody brought that up, that the police or law enforcement need to change their mindset also. That's true. The courts and the judges have to change their mindset. That's true. I've been blessed to go through some things in my life that God prepared me to sit where I sit today. Because the things that I experienced in my life as a kid, I see it come before me now with families that are living the way they are, being treated the way they are. So it gave me an opportunity to have compassion for them and understand their situations. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. I learned something from you. I used some of it. Was that for me? Oh, another thing I want to share with you all, they weren't the only ones in the dark. I was in the dark today, okay? But now I'm in the light, okay? See, despite what I've gone through, I'm visually impaired. And I've always lived as a child to say, I'm gonna go, if I can't go through it, I'm gonna go around it, I'm gonna go over it, and I'm gonna go under it. I've encountered a lot of obstacles in my life, and I practice what I preach, and I have gone through a lot of barriers. Thank you.
Outstanding, outstanding. So I got one more question for you guys for us to take it out. Due to time, I'm going to limit you guys to 60 seconds. So believe it or not, 60 seconds is actually a long time. But a lot can happen in 60 seconds. But the question I have for you guys is, what is one last piece of advice you want to put on this crowd? Something that you want to make sure the young people, the older people, the middle people, something that you want these people to leave here with. It doesn't have to be about jail. It doesn't have to be about going to prison, incarceration, the justice system, but it could be something about life. It could be something that you experienced. But one thing that you live by, one mantra that you live by, that they can take with them to help them in their lives.
Great question, great question. For me, every day it's the mindset it's success over failure. Every day I have to wake up and I tell myself, and this is for, like I said, each and everyone out there, success over failure, the mindset, because you're going to be challenged in life in certain areas. Like even I'm looking at the young kid with the Michael Jordan sign. You may walk to the Turkey Hill and some young kids start trouble with you. But if you wake up every day saying success over failure. So when they go to start trouble with you, you say, I'd rather go to the NBA than the DOC. Success over failure mindset. To the person, I see my good friend, Mr. Muldrow, at the gym every day, working hard, success over failure for his reasons for health. So, whatever it is in life that you're going through, just always when life may challenge you, you think success over failure and you'll make better decisions.
If I may, firstly, I would just like to say to Judge Morgan, thank you for having that change of heart. I heard a lot of stories about you in the past, and I spoke to you earlier. You don't got a duck, brother. As I spoke to you earlier, my brother Montez Parker had a mixer some time ago, and I was on a journey of obtaining my license. Part of my incarceration, I was one of those guys that used to ride dirty a lot, from driving without a suspension, driving under suspension, to accidents involving death and vehicle homicide. So I asked you a question. I said, what's the procedure to get, my license back? My license was suspended for 27 years. And you was in a scurry. You really didn't have the answer. I said, man, this guy just like how they said he was. But unbeknownst to me, and by divine alignment, last year sometime, I needed one signature to get my license back, right? And just so happened that signature came out of your office. So I just want to publicly thank you for allowing. I just want to publicly thank you for me being a reward of that mindset change or whatever. But if I could say anything to our youth or anybody, be weird. Be a weirdo. I'm the biggest weirdo. I'm the biggest cool weirdo in the world. There's not another like me. I look in the mirror and I smile at myself because there was a period in my life I wanted to be like everybody else. I truly believe that we all chosen. We all have a mission. And that mission isn't supposed to look like anyone else. So as you young folks, as you see your friends doing the common thing and everybody doing it, make sure you're that person who decides to go the other direction, because guess what? Some of our friends, they're the individuals, right? Some of them don't get caught, but then you'll get caught and you was like, man, I wish I'd have listened to some of my role models or mentors or whatever having. And speaking of mentors, it's a very big thing. I could probably look in the audience and see 10 people, and just on this stage alone, I see 5 people that already mentored me already amongst the new individuals. But always remember, man, as long as you work to better you every day, you work up to kick your own self in the butt, nobody else will. That's my heart.
My message is specifically for the youth that is here. No disrespect to nobody else, but the kids. I'm one of the individuals that believe that the kids, the children, are our future. Because as we get older, they're going to be the ones that's, creating and calling shots for the atmosphere and environments for us as we continue to age out. So for the youth, I just want to tell you guys, you have to realize your worth. You are like the smartest generation that ever walked the face of this planet right now.
Yes, sir.
You have access to become instant millionaires. Because I know most of you young kids, y'all want to be millionaires, which is, it's going to take a lot of, but a little responsibility on your part. One, you have to respect your parents or who's ever raising you, grandmom, grandpa, your elders. Two, you have to take responsibility when you are making bad decisions for yourself. You can't blame anybody. You have to look at yourself and see yourself 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, where you want to be. And then you have to ask God. You have to go to God and ask God to allow you to be the person that you want to be. And then you have to believe it and go get it. You are the future. I need y'all to understand me. You can be whatever it is that you want to be in life. You put your mind to it and do the work. Don't look at nobody else's plate of food, your friend's food, the kid, whatever. Look at what you want to do and you invest in that. You study that. You got the world in your hands. One of the reasons why Soldiers for Recovery has started is a guy out of Philadelphia. His name's Wallow. One of them videos, one day, because I was following him, and it's something inside of me wanted to tell my story to help change the world. But he shot this in particular video, and I watched it. He said, y'all want to know? Y'all know he's kind of like hype, crazy, but he's a good guy. He says this, y'all want to know how I changed the world? Y'all want to know the change had this and that? So he's going crazy, and I'm like, all right, come on, let it out. He said, you see this phone right here? This is how I changed the world. This is how I got where I got. And each one of you guys, each one of you kids in there, I know you have a phone. The world is in your hands. Anything that you want to become, anything you want to learn, anything you want to be is right here in this phone. You are the future. Be what you want to be. Study what you want to study. It's your responsibility to get there. But us as adults, we'll help you if you ask us and you have to speak up. Yes, sir. We right there.
Everybody say, give God a try.
Give God a try.
That will be my #1 message for you. December 12, 2001, I sat in the hole of Loretto, FCI Loretto, under investigation, about to be transferred to a higher level security. First phone call in 30 days, and I called my daughter who was preparing for a Christmas recital, and she sang to me over the phone. She sang Joy to the World. For 15 minutes of our call, I couldn't remember no other numbers. That's the only reason why I called. I was still in my sickness, but while she sang to me over and over again, I'm coaching her. I'm being a dad coach. She sounded like Whitney Houston. Go ahead, girl, slow down a little bit. It's too fast. And she sang, and when we hung up, I realized that I just heard the song Joy to the World, and I had no joy at all. On that night, I gave my life to Christ. I fell to the floor, and I had heard the Romans Road, the prayer of salvation so many times from the chaplain in the hole. I knew it without any help. But that's when my life changed. I gave God a try. And I need y'all to understand that when that happened, I was on fire for God. The same way I went hard on the streets, I started going hard for God. Win souls, make disciples. That's my mantra. It's been my mantra ever since. So I tell people 4 years before they let me out, God had already set me free. But there are people who disagree. They would be like, oh, you one of them. And I'm here to tell y'all, be one of them. Be one of them. No matter what. I said be weird, be different, be whatever you want to call it, be one of them. Yesterday was Good Friday. Tomorrow we're going to celebrate Resurrection Sunday. And when Jesus was on the cross, he said, forgive them. You are one of them. That's it.
1, 2. All things are working for the good. And that's what like, when it's all said and done, y'all know I am who I am. You talk about that joy, like black boy joy through it all. And then when people didn't understand and always calling me weird, right? And here we are now. And it was the beauty of it. If I could tell, whether it be my big homies, old heads, the sister queens, mama's boy, the younger people, my say this to my queen and my children. The best thing that happened to me as I continue to learn to be a life learner was the uprising of 2020. Because I began to get so frustrated and understand the inequities of structural racism that occurs not only here, but nationally. There was levels that I literally started journaling. It was the best thing that happened to me. I started understanding, and even with the concept, with the little juvie town that I went to, like I became a respecter of Father Time and Mother Nature. I started gardening in my backyard. I started writing. And I began to read myself and understanding the triggers that I had because of society and everything that was going on. The best thing that happened to me. I found my joy again, even even in the midst of a pandemic. Even when we were forced to isolate and I was being triggered because of isolation. Read yourself to know thyself, understand who you are, and trust me, the world will become better.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna do this in 60 seconds, watch. Watch. All my babies in here that are still in school, under 18, come up here. Come up here, come up here. I need you up here real quick, hurry up. All my babies, hurry up. I got 60 seconds. Get on the stage, come on. You gotta climb around, all right. So listen to me. Come on. Hurry up, I need everybody. We have like 20 seconds. There you go, stand in front of me. They don't need to see me, they just need to hear my voice and they need to see you. So my message to my adults is seeing is believing, right? So our children, these youth right here, they got to see it to believe it. You got to put down the drugs. You got to stop selling the drugs. You got to stop cursing at them. You got to stop doing all of what you're doing so that they can believe and they can see. Now, don't clap yet. So what I want them to do is I want them to see right now, and I want them to feel what more graduations and less funerals is. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand up and give them a round of applause for graduating, because they're all going to graduate. So everybody stand up right now. Congratulate them. If this is your baby up here, yell their name. Let them know what it feels like. Holler. Let's go. More graduations. Let's go.
A lot of the kids you see up here are my advantage babies. Great job, guys. Now be safe going back to the seat. That was 60 seconds, sis. That was 60 seconds. Yeah, you great job.
I have one message to the youth. Basically, just be different because jail saved my life.
What I would have to say is this: forgive those that have hurt you so you can live. Don't matter what they feel. Forgive those that have hurt you and ask for forgiveness. Whether they, not here, they still mad with you, ask them for forgiveness and love them that love you, because don't nobody have to love you. A lot of people miss that point. And listen to, like Big Brother said, listen to those who have more wisdom than you. One of the best things I did was when I got married to my wife. Good God Almighty. And this is real, you know, this is real. She had more man-to-man conversations with me than most men. Because after doing all that time, I didn't know what a relationship with a woman would be. 26 years in prison. I got locked up at 23, come home at 50. How would I know how to treat a woman? So she groomed a lot of me that I am now. And I'm not fearful to say that. I'm blessed. So love them that dare to love me, because she told me one thing and I'm out. She said, Slim, I'm built for this.
Because if you see the trend that's going on, even with the trap music that's going on, right? With the drill music that's going on, they're allowing the trend to set them. And our kids are piling up the graveyards. And so I want you to look and take a deep look in yourself and find out how you can become the trend maker, the trendsetter. Don't follow everybody else, because God has made you unique. As the brother said, like, find a relationship with God. If it's hard to talk to your parents, learn how to pray at a very young age. Get that conversation out. Go after your dreams and goals. You can be whatever you want to be. And the biggest fight that you ever going to have in your life is yourself. So learn how to look in the mirror. Don't just fight with your parents, fight with your friends at school. Learn how to fight that spirit and get that spirit of determination that you can become whatever you want to be, because that's who God made you to be. That's right.
Amen, amen. I didn't mean to bring you guys to church today, but brothers, you guys and sisters, you guys are preaching. You guys are preaching. The next voice you will hear, I wanted a big thank you. Melissa Plockett is the head of the York County Reentry Coalition, and part of what I wanted to do here was make sure that there's tangible resources here for anybody that knows somebody that's reentering or is reentering. There's tangible resources right out there. So without further ado, could you guys welcome Melissa Plockett to the stage?
Okay, so I didn't know I was speaking, so pardon me. I will try not to go over in time. Thank you so much for having this, Tavon. Thank you. I think I've been able to thank most of you as speakers. The wisdom that you provide, certainly it feeds my soul and the work that I do and the work that I do with other organizations. So the Reentry Coalition exists as we have a fiscal sponsor, so we are kind of, if you want to get to technicalities, we're kind of a nonprofit, but I do work for York County Probation. So my perspective in working for the Reentry Coalition really is from that perspective. The YCRC, as we like to call ourselves, works with government and nonprofit organizations and individuals in order to help reentrants succeed, simply put. One of the things that I'm not as a service provider. I have been worked in service provision in other fields, but I have to say, one of the things I enjoy about my job is that I'm a connector. I want to connect people to the resources that already exist in the community. And if people don't know that they exist, then it's my job to share that information. We have a table out in the, thank you. So we have information from some of our partners. I know we also work closely with our community advisory board, which is a group of 12 people. And I'm looking at one of them in here right now, and she's amazing. And those are individuals with lived experience who provide us as providers, as stakeholders like WellSpan, probation, MHIDD, with information, because that seat at the table isn't always there. And why should we talk about building programs and things without input? So if I don't have the experience, I'm going to ask for the input in doing that work. York is rich with resources, but as all of you know, COVID hit us a lot, hit us very hard, and we're still, I think a lot of organizations are trying to come back. But our work with, with the district attorney's office, we work very closely. My managing co-chair is the first assistant district attorney, and is very passionate about this work. And as you saw from the graphic that Dan Lombardo showed us, that it is when government works together and when community works together and identifies diversion and identifies programs and develops programs to help the population go down in York County Prison, and which has also benefited us. We're developing a space called the Reentry Opportunity Center out in the backside of the prison where immigration used to be. And we are bringing in providers from the community to provide services, to provide assistance. We are building it as we go, and I'm very, very proud of it, and look forward to what it's going to look like in years to come, because reentry and this work is all about people. Simply put, it's not a number, it's not something you've been charged with. It's about people. And when we start to look at and treat people as such, we can be more successful. And I think coming from a government perspective, government's not always looked at as the most positive thing, but we are trying our best. And thankfully, I'm working with some wonderful people that are government, law enforcement, that do care and want to make a change. And again, the Reentry Coalition is all about that collaborative work. Our website is yorkreentry.org if you're interested, and I almost got under the wire there. Our next quarterly meeting is May 10th, and if you go to yorkreentry.org, you'll find more information about the where and when. Thank you so much.
So we have to wrap this thing up. So if I could, I need Tavon Parker to come up to the stage. While she's coming, can you guys read your raffle numbers?
I have number 6917526. Six, 9, 1, 7, 5, 2, 6. The winners and the contenders.
All right.
So we don't have time to do another one. So what I'll do is whoever's the first person that gets to you when you're outside, you give them your prize.
All right. This number is 6917516. Come on. Where you at? Okay, there we go.
This is my my daughter, and it's also my why. So my brother Mel Wells, she has the prize, and she wanted to say something quick to you guys.
This is my book called What Do You Mean?
My daughter is a published author.
691-7515.
Hey. With that said, I had some closing remarks planned, but I really can't, from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you guys enough. I really appreciate you guys. You guys for coming. You guys for for coming and being vulnerable and speaking your truths, and I thank you guys. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is your 2023 Reformed Felons Panel. Thank you guys again.